Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Wow, I have a lot to talk about, you guys. I have a lot to talk about. Let me tune in to my special guest. Give me a second. I probably spelled his name wrong. I'm sorry, Albert Einstein, if you're out there laughing at me. You're autistic. Stephen Hawkins. I'm going to go on him later. Stephen Hawkins. So, wow, I learned a lot in over an hour. I figure, I can learn a little bit here, a little bit there. If I can take a whole day and learn exactly what we have been missing all of our years of being on this planet. Some of us don't even know. Some of us don't even know. Hi, you now. I finally got on you now. Let me fix my hair. Okay. So some of us don't even know, the creativity that's out there and what's out there for the world, the omniverse, and beyond that. So let's talk about some things for a second, you guys. I know they like this black chick. she knows a lot, and yes, I know a lot, but that I learned. I just learned in a whole hour or two, and I'll be back on here at 7 or 8 or earlier to edit the video, but that's neither here nor there. Give me a second. So what I want to do, give me a second, is talk about what I've learned that y'all need to know about y'all universe, because it's very, very important. It's very important. And I feel, give me a second, okay? I know I'm leaving, but I'm coming right back. I know I'm messing up the feed, but I can always edit this in the future. But it's very important that you guys know about your future. This isn't going on a politics website. This isn't going on a website. This is just for y'all educational use, and that's factual. Give me a second, okay? So what I wanted to talk about was the fact of Albert Einstein. What I want to talk about is Albert Einstein for a second. So Albert Einstein is a wonderful, smart individual who did MC equal squared. E equal MC squared. Energy equal mass times speed of light. Wow. So energy, all of it goes together times 2. It doesn't go together times 3. It doesn't go together times 4. Now, maybe it could be something beyond this realm that, which a lot of people has challenged the original E equal MC squared, and some people doubled on it or tripled on it or worked on it to show that there's other routes other than M equal MC squared. But that's not to say E equal MC squared isn't correct. So energy equal mass times the speed of light. The speed of light and mass equals energy. Our mass, which, we got mass. We are human. We are in a mass. The sun is in a mass. The moon is in a mass. And each and every one of the things that are in masses, every planet, every star, every floating, motionless, motionable, whether mobile or immobile, has an energy source. Let me say that again. The shower. We're going to start with the shower. I'm going to look at everything in this house. The energy source from the house. What causes the energy to seep in through our houses? Us motion people, mass, cutting on the light. Then it shines and it illuminates our house. So the energy source for the house is to make sure you wire the electricity well inside the house with the heater. Make sure the heater is fine so you can fluctuate your temperature. Then you got the refrigerator. The refrigerator. We all in and out of that. I'll vouch for that. You open it and it lights up and it shows you what you bought at another place, energy place. The microwave. A little kid invented time travel with a microwave in 2019, but failed. But that doesn't mean he's gonna not succeed. I'm looking for him to succeed, because then I'll be in 5th place talking about I created one, the black model. Look, what's gonna happen with the black model if I don't get it right is that people gonna get stuck in a labyrinth between time channels. And they're gonna be like, man, her machine does not work. I tried to use her machine and it does not work. I'm stuck in between some type of dimension portal. And I can't get home to my family. So yeah. So anyway, give me a second, you guys. So anyway, pretty much. Okay. Anyway, you know what I'm about to teach you guys? I'm about to teach you guys something pretty cool. You about to flip out, y'all. Y'all are about to flip out. Hold on, I see it right there. So we all look at each other every day, even in the mirror. But in the back of our minds, we be like, whoa, what is the significance in the mirror? What is the significance in the mirror? There's a lot of significance. When we see each other, believe it or not, look it up. When we see each other not only in the past, but inverted. But our mind processes. Like now, what I'm doing now, I see myself inverted before I see my physical form, which is upside down. I'm aligned with everything. But if we were to flip it up, that would be the original. The original is me flipped up, doing it like that. But our brain, just like a camera, just like a original camera, I learned this in school, processes it inverted. We process inverted, upside down, not downside, no, downside up. We process downside up. And then we reprocess upside down. So everything we look at from the ground up, we process downside up. And we don't even notice we do it. We can't see it. But what I tried to look up for you guys Is there anybody out there that can see inverted fully and not, because it has something to do with your equilibrium. It has to include the equilibrium. You know how they say the skull bone connected to the spinal bone, but it has to be something connected with your equilibrium. And I'm just so happy because it's like energy equal mass times the speed of light. You know, whether we're walking away from light, we cannot stop the flow of speed. Speed and energy is infinite, but we can slow it down. We can slow down the circuitry within our brains. What happens? We sleep. Universe is an imagination beyond itself. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the weird things going on amongst the universe that I'm pretty sure is just not in the Earth hub sector doing, but in other planets. And I tried to crack the code to it to figure out why in God's green earth are we moving west to east. Our planet, our Enerva, which Enerva, is it Enerva? Let me make sure I pronounce it right. Where is it at? Boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka. Whatever, we need to learn more with it, Inerta. So our planet has Inerta, and our universe has an Inerta. You're like, what is Inerta? Inerta is when it's the mass, the gravitational pull, and whatever electrical current, it's like a law. It's like a law. It has to be the law in the laws of physics that our planet go counterclockwise, which means as our energy sources, the moon and the sun and additional planets are moving east to west every day in our orbit solar system, only the Earth, I don't know why I didn't go that far. It got to be a reason, and it got to be other solar systems that do the exact same thing. It's moving west to east. So when you think about west to east, they're moving from the past to the present. No, from the past to the future. And the energy sources east to west is moving from the future to the past. So going backwards, let's say that again, if you didn't get what I said. Let's use it. Let's go a little bit. Let's zoom in. Close your eyes and zoom in for a second on the state of California. The state of California. And then we have Hawaii. And then we have Hawaii. That's West Coast. West Coast is what? In the past. Now you fly is no other, there's nothing in the world that can measure the speed of light. So you fly from the West Coast, which is California, to the East Coast. You fly at a rate of 500 miles per hour. It takes you roughly 11 to 10 hours to get fully across from California to the East Coast. So that's half a day. You spent the whole day, whether you did everything on time or not. Well, Another plane is going from the East Coast to the West Coast. Now, in between the West Coast to the East Coast, there's different time zone changes. There's different changes every nanosecond that they move slightly, and we cannot see when they move, when the moon and the sun moves. So you got the sun and the moon going from East Coast to West Coast. So that is the future to the past. And our Earth is going from the past to the future, West Coast to East Coast. So we can say, let's say, follow me, 12 o'clock is right here. All right, 12 right there. East Coast to West Coast. So you got East Coast to West Coast. I want y'all to understand this because this is factual. We travel from east to west, from future to past. Now, that is pretty cool because it has something to do with the eyes too. If we're seeing from north to south to east to west, but we see inverted, if we see inverted, then doesn't that mean if our images of ourselves before processed in our brain are inverted, which is fact that our images are inverted, we go north, south, east, west. But what if when we see a compass or we see these things, that we see that the north, south, east, west, or north, south, east, west is north at the bottom, south at the top, east to the right, and west to the left. As above, so below. We are literally every day in this camera, you see me right side up or left side up or down side up. You're processing that. Isn't that cool? Think about that, you guys. Our eyes see stuff at an inverted angle. It's like a triangle in the camera. And then I'll talk more about space because I actually thought 180 million years in the future. I don't know how I did it, but I did. But I came up with suggestions, which I'm going to read in a second, because I have never seen this paper that I came across that said, how long does it take? Because I know everybody's anticipating the questions in the question, how long does it take to make 25 hours, which would equal 8 days? If we add an hour, that would mean adding a day. I always say 25/8. I never really say 24/7. Even before I knew any of this, I always been, since 2011, check the throwbacks. I didn't know where it came from. I just thought of an extra one. And then today I found out time. And then now we have time, we have gravity, we have E equal MC squared. If you just tuning in, energy equal mass times speed of light squared. It makes sense. The only way it will be unsquared is if you didn't have a mirror or a camera. Like I said, energy. If we didn't have light, but let's get to the point. Let's get to the point because I can go on. So, the big question, how many years does it take for us to add an hour and possibly a day? Well, get your listening ears on, y'all. If there was roughly more than over 1,000 earthquakes on Earth in the next century, which is not probable that that will happen in the next 100 years, there's a more probability that 180 million years will go by before we experience another hour. Not to say that we aren't behind schedule, because by seconds we are behind schedule. Makes sense, right? Because we look in the past. You know, when they say unconscious, conscious, subconscious, that means unconscious is a no thought. Conscious is you aware of something, is aware of who you are, what you're doing, and then you got your what you're going to say. But you can't always predict what you're going to say. But what do? We base it off emotions. So let me read what it says. So every hour contains 36,000 seconds, 60 minutes to an hour, and 60 seconds to a minute. And so how to wait long enough to gain 3,600 seconds, we'll need to wait 50,000 years plus 3,600 times over, which equal 180 million years. It's right around the corner. Now, I want to read what I just said because I wasn't looking at it. Now, both drift on the moon and the slowing of the rotation of Earth are very small effects. Like I said, we are slow of 0.0014 seconds. We're slowing every 0.0014 seconds over a total of 100 years. And every century is 2.5 milliseconds. So we got a long time. Now, what did they say about the earthquakes? Let me make sure I read that because that is true. Hold on. Come on. Okay. You'll need 1,000 earthquakes that are strong in a century in order to cancel out what the moon has been doing so far. Now, the moon does susceptible earthquakes, and we know it makes sense now. It makes sense to us because where do earthquakes go? Where do earthquakes start from? It's something about the West Coast. All of the signs of the compass means something, but it's something that starts on the West Coast. If we're going counterclockwise, which is west, those earthquakes, whether we believe it or not, I believe that they mean something. Like Earth having some sort of crisis. And I know we know it means something bad, but it also can mean something good. I don't like the fact that people die. What I do like is the fact that Earth is talking to us. Believe it or not, Earth is talking to us through the climate change. And everything on the planet and outside of this planet consists of an energy core. Even us. We have an energy source. And it's something about the number 2 within the number 3, which equal the number 5, that draws us together and make us equal. Take, for instance, it's some type of correlation. And the doctors feel me. You have 2 sides of the brain with 4 quadrants, right? I don't know. I know that this is your executive suite. This is your it's called the executive house, the presidential executive something in the front of your brain. So you learned something. So you got 2 cortexes, 4 quadrants, your upper quadrant, your lower quadrant, your frontal quadrant, your backward quadrant. Everything is in 2s, but 5s. Your face is very important. Nobody looks at their face. Nobody even look at the Starbucks symbol. But I don't even want to get into that. You got 2 eyes, like a sun and a moon. And it's so funny, you guys, because I got more stuff to say. The moon is in stages as well as the sun. We missed the supermoon in March. It was March 21st, 2019. For those who don't know, we missed the third and the last supermoon. I don't know the relevance in that. I don't even know what I was doing. I remember what I was doing in December 21st, 2022. But I have more to say. Now, we don't know where brains come from. We know what's brain food. Oh, it's making sense. What do we eat for brain food? What do we eat for brain food, y'all? See, y'all need to be commenting. Seriously. I'm just kidding. No, seriously. What do we eat for brain food? I'm going to act like I'm one of y'all. Fish. Well, if we eat fish for brain food, it's documented that somebody said that we either crawled or we swam before the monkeys, before we learned how to walk. It's a brain. There's so many brains out there. We have similar systems except a couple, which the ones that have sensory systems like starfish and jellyfish, their sensors, which we need to study more, are blocked. Their sensors are blocked because they don't have a brain receptor, but they have a sensor to where if somebody was just doing that, they wouldn't feel it, just like a sponge. And like I said, give me a second. The universe is getting older. The universe is getting older, and the universe is really getting older, and our planet is moving away from our moon. It's actually moving away in inertia, whatever, inertia. That applies, that is the laws of physics. You don't see a moon that's triangular. That's the laws of physics. It remains circular. Everything on the planet and outside of this planet that's a major planet is circular. That's one of the laws of physics. But our moon is disconnecting for some reason with Earth, which means that that's slowing us down. So the moon gives and takes, and the sun gives and takes energy. So without light, we will always be in dark. Without dark, we wouldn't know to sleep. We would think that, we would still sleep because our body is very, like, it requires sleep, but we would be in a state where we think that our alert system, just like our alert system warns us that the images that we see or right side up or down side up, it would be different, the same. It would be the same, and I fear for this planet. I fear for the planet. And I have some questions I want to ask NASA, but until I get to those questions, I want to write or talk about my notes that I put. If opposites attract, outer space, opposites attract and can align within space. Now, that doesn't mean every opposite attract, because you got black holes out there in the universe that light cannot absorb through. You got white holes that people are still researching. You got orbits like rocks or whatever they call it coming our way. People like, let's just send a rock their way. Maybe they'll smoke it. No, let me stop. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming our way. And if our moon doesn't, everything is connected. And if our moon doesn't align the correct way with our Earth, that's our baby right there. Our moon has many stages and it works day and night. It's a nocturnal, I think nocturnal is the right word. It's a nocturnal being. It is a being. It may not talk, but it talks in electromagnetic waves. That's why when there's a full moon, what do you see on TV? In Halloween, on full moons, you see a werewolf. Those are nocturnal creatures that can pick up on energy sources and needs light in order to see in the dark. But what's really cool is matter. Let's dig deeper into matter. In order to create our own matter, we can, for one, before I get into matter, the speed of light, just for your information, we cannot right now create anything faster than the speed of light. Matter. With matter, we need some synthetic matter. Now, technically, we have synthetic matter because those are robots, but we need synthetic matter. There's nothing like a human. A human, you touch, I'm not talking about you, computer, but you touch a computer and it has a hard surface. You touch a human and you feel two different surfaces. You feel. But a computer can feel, but can't feel the way we feel. It can only the probability. It only has a probability of what it feels, because anything that you touch, anything, you make a movement, you make it move. But what makes the computer different is we have the possibilities of housing more information than our standard information. Now, this guy learned how to speak in pi almost 1 million or less within 24-hour numbers. His brain was that capable. He was in the Guinness Book World of Records, or he's online. Obviously, I saw it. But it's a rumor, or they call it a myth, that we only use 10% of our brain. Now, I believe it, even though they call it a myth. And let me explain why. Now, one place said 2/3, another place said 10%, and then some neurologists, based on what they've seen, which I congratulate them, but I still believe that we have more to do and more to work on to get our brain capacity at a higher speed, higher rate, and we have a lot of work to do. And I want to be included on that, because if we do only use 10%, We have to use 10% of our brain. You know why? Do you literally open up? What do you see when you open up your phone? Let me make sure it's on the correct screen. Wait. You see all those apps? What is the apps? What do you do most of the time? Well, let me tell you what I do most of the time on my apps. I use 5 to 10% of my brain. But I use more because I challenge myself. And what I mean by that, Facebook, YouTube, pictures, calendar. That's all I use. Out of 4, 8, 9, it's like, if I had to calculate, it's like 50 to 60 apps on here. And I use 4. I don't use any other apps because they're locked. They're not locked, but they're not important. For instance, I got Angie's List. It's not important. Chevrolet, I've been engaged with it, but it's not important. So it is correlated that we do use 10% of our brain. Some people can watch zombie movies all day, and that is their life till the end of them. While other people challenges themselves and watch various things that's educational. So if we use various things that's educational, like we got YouTube, even though we use 10% of our brain, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, and every stream, everything that's been thought of and is going to be thought of, it opens the door for enlightenment virtually in education. So, you know, it's very, 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 very educational to know that our computers do our thinking and save our information. And first we came out with the typewriter. Oh man, we came out with a lot of stuff, man. I am happy that I'm a generation. I think I'm a Generation X child, an 80s baby, whatever it is. I could be wrong, but I'm an 80s baby, you know, and I've seen a lot. I've seen the world grow. I not only seen Charlotte, North Carolina grow when I was aware of my surroundings, but I've seen the world grow. And my questions are as follows now. I want y'all to know, let me see if anything energetic force helps grow the world. So, what if, like the doctors that we are all doctors and scientists, it just hasn't been brought out of us. We just choose to know, and we don't want to take the challenges of how to become that scientist, become that author, become that writer, but we're everything. We are the universe. And what if we can create inertia? We have inertia, which the definition is maintaining speed and keeping moving outer space. But one thing that you didn't know is if we are being observed, which we are, if I was to flash a flashlight or a camera out there at night, an alien of an advanced civilization would be able to pick up on that from its technology. Now we know the Big Bang is in the past. We've been able to calculate how the Big Bang coexists. I've been able to tell you my theory on it, which is I didn't know, this is the real theory and then my theory. And it combines with each other. I said the theory before I looked it up. I'm going to say what the theory is first. The theory: electromagnetic waves, particles got very, 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 very hot. And then in a blank nothing world, this was before, even if there was 10 dimensions, this would be the 11th dimension. There is actually 11 dimensions, and a famous physicist says that if there was anything beyond, our whole universe would collapse. So there have to be 11 dimensions. So Michael Kiko or something like that, a Korean or Asian, which I believe he's a god, but don't tell nobody. That's just my conspiracy theory, because he knows way too much. He, it's an honor to talk to him and talk about him, but it's the Asian guy with gray hair, if y'all know who that is. And I watched some of his episodes, and it's amazing the things that spew out of his mouth. And Stephen Hawking and Albert Einstein is on point. You know, when Albert Einstein tried to get his dissertation done, they didn't understand what he had to say, so he couldn't get his doctorate's degree. They didn't understand him at that time, and they got scared. He was autistic. Now, we're going to move into, let me make sure I got, oh yeah, force field, speed of light. Do we go around in a circle? Yes, our spirit does, because we get recycled, our spirit. Like the Black Eyed Peas said, end. Energy never dies. So the force field around us that goes west to east, our own earth, helps with the balance, right, of spring, summer, winter, and fall. Now, some of the states, some of the countries skip maybe winter and have summer, spring, and fall, whatever, they compensate. But we have the 4 seasons in a 12-month period. So that's every 3 months, every quarter. And let's just talk about traditional 4, spring, winter, summer, fall, our system of weather changes, whatever you call it, the weather change. And so we have the weather changing every 3 months as the moon changes. Deer season. I know all those people in Pennsylvania saw deer season. And y'all like, yeah, when the moon is a certain angle and it's cold outside, like, why not do it in the summer? Why do it in the winter when the moon is a certain way? Because it's weird. I know what it means, but I don't want to say it. And I think that you're supposed to pray over. I've never killed a deer. I bought a gun to kill a deer, but I never got to kill it. And I don't think now that I know and I made a promise to God, I don't want to kill no animal. So we got that out the way. We got enough meat. I let the government show me the meat after it's been cut. I don't watch the deer be gut. I don't watch a deer guts come out of it. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't. So, to each his own, to your choice, whatever, you're not sacrificing nothing. You're just trying to feed and do what we do, which, you have a small business doing. So, more power to you. But me aligning, I want inertia. I want to keep moving forward. And that's how I feel, The moon orbit, like everything is energy. Everything. The sun have energy. The moon have energy. Our planets have energy. Even the planets we don't hear about. Like they say, okay, the Earth, we haven't found any life forms. And I said, BS. How haven't we found any life forms when people that are coming out are saying that they are aliens? They are beings that have habitated the planet for thousands of years. Things are coming out about Egyptian. It's not mythology. Some people thought it was mythology, some people didn't. I knew. But when you get a famous person, Ra and Osiris, which is, he rules the underworld. His body was found a month or two ago. They found his body. So how is it a myth? And there's some relevance to it. Let me make sure I got everything. Oh, one last thing. I got to read the questions, but I'm going to begin the questions like this. If the Earth is getting older, it's expanding. It's expanding. And I wanted to show y'all this tape, but I think the aliens and the men in black were messing with me because I was half asleep. I was laying down, eyes closed, but my conscience still was going. Oh yeah. They showed two aliens tap dancing because they said, why is the universe expanding? Maybe the aliens, they said, this is exactly what they said. Maybe the aliens are bored tap dancing in their planet, building new universes, whatever. And I'm like, I started busting out laughing because they actually showed two aliens tap dancing. It was fake aliens, but I'm pretty sure they know how to dance too. So they showed two aliens tap dancing, and it was funny. And I started busting out laughing. But we only use 2/3 of our brain. We only use 2/3 of our brain. We have a capacity of 2/3 of RAM. 2/3. That would make that, if we were to say 2/3 in percentage, because I'm not finished. Oh, it's going to take, that's 66% of our brain we use. That is 66% of our brain we use. And I just wanted to let y'all know that 2/3 is 66%. Some people say 10, some people say 2/3 of RAM. That equals 2/3 of RAM. 66% equals 2/3 of RAM. Whatever crawled, because we have Atlantis, whatever crawled outside of the, I would like to say that fish have it hard. If there is mermaids and mermans or whatever, they have it hard because there is the Atlantis. How do they take pictures? They like, let's go on regular land to take some pictures. How do they do anything? How do they advance? Where do they stay? Deep, 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 deep. Fish have lungs, but they have lungs that are built for water. We have lungs that are built for air. We are air creatures. They are water creatures. They have brains, just like us. And whatever it was, scientific fact proved it was like a fish type thing. Before we walked, there was just, it was a brain host. I mean, imagine having the same brain in different forms, from cats to dogs to humans. They're all formed the same brain, different capabilities, different frequencies. Imagine that. A brain with the dog capacity, dog man, SNL, or a cat capacity, cat woman, SNL, Holly Berry. Imagine that. Why can't y'all imagine aliens or vampires living amongst us? You hear those satanic stories about people drinking and laying in blood, and there's some type of symbolism beyond that. I don't think it's all negative. With certain people it is, because this is going to really rock your socks off. Matter. In order to produce matter, it leads me into this. In order to produce a synthetic matter, there has to be antimatter and there has to be matter. But they haven't found no matter yet. To the World Wide Web, I put it to you like this, that made my heritage. To the World Wide Web knowledge, they haven't found any or been able to form, because antimatter antimatter has to be a certain matter. It has to equal the right number. It has to be matter and it has to be antimatter, yin yang. In order to create matter, there has to be antimatter. In anything, it has to be antimatter. In the universe, we have black holes, anti-gravity, antimatter in everything. Seriously. And so they supposedly haven't found that. But I want a picobot. And everybody like, what? What's a picobot? Let me make sure I say it the correct way. Did I write this crap down? Nope. It's called a picobot. Okay, picobot. It's like a nanobot. But it's a little smaller. Now, mind you, nanobots can be injected. It says it on the World Wide Web. They can be as small as an injection. And just think what picobots can do. They rebuild your body, the nanobots. They help reverse the signs of cancer. But if we can get tinier than a nanobot, let's just keep making it tinier and tinier. Put these one-dimensional creatures and entities to work. Imagine how many entities. By the time we say Mississippi, I'm going to go back to nanobots and picobots, but by the time we say Mississippi, the Big Bang happened. That light that we see illuminating our planets are in the past. That's what makes a light source, and I forgot to explain that fully. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around, but anyway, my version, their version, and then we'll get to picobots. My version was that God dispersed somehow, some way. He has to know science and everything that any man on this planet and beyond has created. Disperse energy to every planet, and build different particles on different planets to help other planets, and the race is on. But the way science says it is that these particles lit up and got heated. What heated them? What heated them? Our Big Bang. What heated them? Just particles floating and just going all of a sudden get agitated and mad? Something dark with particles in it? It is some sort of light source within our dimension. It is some sort of light that, like, God created. Look, God is, don't get mad at me. I'm just joking with God. God knows. What is that word? A pyro. I ain't going to say maniac because he's not a maniac, but he's a pyro because he's so attracted to energy that he lit up the skies. He lit up the skies, and certain earthquakes, quasars, whatever happens at certain times. Check the times on the NASA chart. But he lit up the earth, the universe, the omniverse, and the infinite verse. So let's say this was the particles, and there's nothing, you see, there's nothing here. Something has to have a chemical reaction with this just sitting like that, right? Something has to have a chemical reaction. I tell myself to open my hand, and I paused and said, don't open your hand yet until you explain. So the universe was birthed. I can say it that he may have caused a fire of the universe in a good way, or I can say that there was a birth of the universe. But if you look at 369 in pregnancy, all my ladies out there that are good people, before I move on to doing my project, look at our birth. I've experienced 3 times birth and 1 abortion. Now, throughout my abortions, throughout the course of my pregnancies, it's the first trimester in the 3rd month, second trimester in the 6th month, 3rd trimester in the 9th month. You don't go no further than the 9th month. Hey, that's the laws of biology. 2 brains, 2 eyes, inverted. Our brains are right side up, y'all. It's not like we can go like this, screw them back up so we can see the correct image. But our brains are right side up, downside up. It may look right side up, but I don't know how they do it. Our brains are right side up, downside up. I mean, why would we, when we look into the sky and we see an image down below, we actually see the sky in the image down below, up above. So what is that relevance? Like, how does that correlate? if we were to walk through a mirror, they correlated. If I was to walk through the screen, you would, once I get through that screen, I would see my back. Y'all would see my back. Now, a mirror, I looked that up, and then I'm gonna go into the questions very shortly. Is a reflective material that has a glass on it. It's a special material and it's needed. I mean, NASA uses it. NASA, you know, the camera. We done learned how to use the camera. The camera has a triangular, and it's been confirmed, mirror in it. Why is that? So let me go into the questions, because I'll be all day with questions. I think that I satisfy my hunger. But here are the questions. We need a synthetic man-made energy or a matter source to speed up or slow down our inertia to our benefit. Because if we don't start playing around with not time, but energy and bringing dormant energy sources to our planet that isn't going to harm, hurt, or kill another planet, but help their planet by giving their planet some of our energy source. I mean, look at how many, it's 7 billion people in the world, and we can't go out of space yet. Come on now, to explore these planets y'all been looking for decades, if not hundreds of years. We need to focus on Earth first, and we need a synthetic chemical that's at the core of our Earth, that's living inside of our Earth. We need to hydrate it, energetically hydrate it, to bring it back to where it should be, like we were back in the day, and the energy flow was fine. Can we use synthetic matter? Yes, but nobody has created it yet. Can we use synthetic DNA? Yes. Just think about if we had synthetic DNA. I looked up all these questions I asked. Yes, we can make synthetic DNA. Somebody made a synthetic cell. Somebody made a synthetic cell. What I mean by that is they made a synthetic cell. Okay, what is you got the nucleus, everything. And how we get energy, plants get energy the same way, trees and everything, you know. But anyway, we can use synthetic DNA to house the original DNA, to make our DNA stronger, to make our lifespan capacity last longer without changing the structure of our skin. But we can use the DNA, the synthetic DNA, to help rebuild cancerous, not rebuild, but dissolute cancerous cells, help reconstruct body structures. Like internally, if there's internal bleeding, have nano or picobots find it. You get a shot that only the picobots or the nanobots die within or not die, but shut off, because they're tiny little electrical sources that have been computerized to detect certain negative entities, foreign or domestic entities inside of your body. So what it does is it's jamming right in your blood cells right now. And it's like Dave Chappelle, the commercial where he was drinking Red Balls, and he heard a sound. It was like do 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 do, and he's like, like seriously, that's how it is. These nanobots could be chilling inside of us, and let's say we get raped. Let's say we get raped and that person has HIV. The nanobots be like, do, 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 do. Let's get those HIV virus up out of her because it's just gonna make us sick. So they just working on it, just curing it, We can get it to it like that. That's what synthetic DNA would be. And what DNA does is it has a genetic code. It has a genetic code. We all have our own story genetic code. Everybody has a story, whether internally or externally. And it's a genetic code, double helix. I broke the code for it in my words. The words correlates with my life. I broke the code for it in Ebonic term form, but in regular term form, the dextroribose, whatever is, nucleic acid or whatever it's called, is where you house your dextronucleic acid, I think it's called. And whoever gave us DNA gave us a genetic code. There's no body, and I don't have to look this up. Maybe in the future we'll learn about it. It probably is out now, but we never know. But you can take away certain genetics from your genetic makeup as an embryo, or less than if you know you are going to conceive. And it all starts with the male and his probability of his sperm count of what that child might be. And you take the egg and you take the sperm, you combine them together or something like that, and then you insert it in the woman. But first you take out certain characteristics that would be in the DNA, like if they have Down syndrome, if they have certain things wrong with them. Then the RNA, the Buick, oh God. It's nucleic acid, but I forgot exactly how you say it. Rebuke, something like that. I don't know. But let me tell you what it does. It's not like the DNA. So the DNA is like your chip. The DNA was way, way back in the day. DNA has been thousands of years. Thousands of years. Nobody in this era, unless they reincarnated and knew something I didn't know, created DNA. It had to be some advanced civilization. Just like I explained the way nanobots work, I'm pretty sure whatever civilization came here and housed whatever brain mechanism, foreign humanoid type thing, which was monkeys and gorillas, inserted and monitored our DNA. That's the only way. It had to study us over the thousands of years, if not millions, with the DNA that was housed in us. That's the only thing I can see. While there's scientists and biologists and mad scientists here, you don't think they got alien scientists? How many people have been probed? I mean, they know how to do crop circles. They know how to kill animals. They let you live while they probe you. So what is going on? There have to be alien scientists too. So thousands, if not millions of years ago, we were granted the DNA chip that slowly over thousands of years advanced our human, and the fittest survive. Charles Darwin made a strongest and the fittest survive, yada, yada, yada. Not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just trying to get it out the way. And then we were housed with a secondary thing, which was RNA. DNA is like a computer system, an imprint chip of our computer system, which is within our cellular structure. And then after that becomes particles of, after the cells comes the DNA, RNA, you got everything in between that, but then you got the electrons, neutrons, and protons. And that is as tiny as a nanobot. So you got a nanobot size of electrons, protons, and neutrons, which you can't see but through a scope. And then you got your cells, which you can't see but through a scope. Some cells you can see, whatever. And then you got your skin, your muscle cells. I mean, it's amazing structure. You can understand the universe if you understand your brain and your body. Two working, what does the heart and the brain have in common? They're both electrical circuits. What does the car, the alternator, and the battery have in common in a car? The alternator is an electrical source. It kickstarts the battery to kickstart to make the whole thing work if worked properly. And it's the same thing with our brain. And the same thing with our universe. The moon, energetic orbits at different sectors of our seasons, that's what it's called, generates energy, sometimes low energy forces, sometimes high energy forces. While the sun have a set schedule of energy sources, the moon go in stages. Our beautiful moon and our beautiful sun and our beautiful omniverse. And they all have different stages. So RNA, let me get back to RNA real quick. RNA is the secondary. It does something different, a little specialer than DNA. It not only, it rewires, which that's what, let me explain this carefully before I scare and freak some of you guys out. Whatever medication that helps or hurts or maybe upgrades our RNA factors what RNA does. Let me first go into what RNA does. So RNA works by mutating a little bit. It mutates because our RNA is ribonucleic acid, and this ribonucleic acid, I have to make sure I word it correctly, mutates and form protective barriers like the DNA. The DNA helps set the forefront, but the RNA does something different than the DNA. It mutates and helps form protective barriers for germs. It rewires us as much as it can to the capacity that it can. While DNA have a set structure, RNA is our health benefits. Well, DNA is too, But it's been thousands of years, and we needed RNA. RNA is less older than DNA, if you didn't know. So now I believe that there should be some type of synthetic form of RNA, an upgrade of both DNA and RNA that helps our planet evolve and grow. And I want not the United States, but our Earth to be a hub to plenty of people willing to understand our culture and what it represents in a positive way. Different alien races. You know, you moved them out of Area 51. I have to say that. How do you move? Like that is the shadiest thing to do, to house aliens and then to move them out of a military base. Yes, I'm mad at that. You evicted aliens. How do you evict somebody who's trying to stay on the planet? Now, how can we create a newer system to help enhance or positively modify our brains to more capabilities? We can complete, so, you know, you got Elon Musk, Donald Trump, you got so many, Mark Zuckerberg, you got so many people that house, that enhance our brains every day with knowledge, basic knowledge about things we may not have known, we may have known, and elaborate on what we do know. You got a house, a hub, beyond a hub of information on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. But that's just basic. That's just basic. How can, just like I said before a couple of weeks ago, if not a week ago, how can we get a whole program, if not maybe 30% every year of YouTube programming? Nobody can do it unless we download. Nobody can do it in their lifetime. Learn, because YouTube is expanding like the universe every day. Facebook is too. Twitter is too. So it's no way that we as the people can read everything on YouTube. It's impossible. I don't care if somebody pretends or it's said or stated that somebody read everything in the news company came. The only way to recognize certain important things for right now is to, and that's still not using all of your brain, but the only way to do that is to download what we want to download into our brain's capacity. Maybe you want to learn more about animals, or the whole animal structure in YouTube. Maybe you want to learn how to become a scientist. Maybe you want to learn how to become a nurse or a doctor. Certain sections of YouTube we highlight a lot based on our personalities and what we like to see. Step outside of that box. I challenge you. But my invention, how we can modify our brain, is to stop lying about these aliens that are living amongst us and start sending more troops, whether Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, Marines, National Guard, have a certain, like, start sending people to planets that we have made a connection with for real and not by play. And the reason why I say play is because when you say for play, that means the dumb version of playing games, not for play, and start getting resources which is going to help our planet for the future from outer space. China has its own sun. We need our own sun. China has its own sun China has its own sun housed up in a laboratory. Okay. I believe that in order for us to grow, we need to house a type of DNA and RNA, advanced version copies that has some sort of newer type of virus, antivirus, vaccination that will hinder any more foreign viruses anymore. I don't care if the Poco virus came. I don't care what state. Have you flew out of state? Yes, it doesn't matter because you got that vaccination. And now is a protector barrier. It has some sort of protective barrier that can detect, just like an apple, sweet apple computer, a virus or an entity trying to attack it. Now, how do we do that? I don't know. I'm not in a lab. Now, the last thing. We are creating synthetic blood. There are now synthetic blood, not plasma, but literally fake, but real blood, man-made blood for humans. That is a very good advance, but I want advanced matter, synthetic matter that can possibly bring us closer. If we have more matter, it's matter all around us. We see a computer, we see everything physical. Matter is nothing but the hard stuff. And then we have energy. Like he said, anything in your house have an energy or a microchip, which is their DNA of their advanced technology, of their system. Everything in your house has a microchip. Taiwan makes the microchips. It's tiny as 1% of a slice of hair. Some of them. We need more matter. There's more advances to be made. We need to find more foreign matter, more foreign DNA for benefits of helping our human race, more foreign RNA, a newer system to help us maximize our time, newer ways such as, last thing, newer ways such as to advance our technology, I had it in my, so we need new DNA, new RNA, and a newer system to help advance our technology to the next level. We have artificial intelligence. Imagine what's next, y'all. We're going to have artificial intelligence that's going to look like a beeper in the next 50 to 100 years. That's the end of it. Pico bots. So I'll be back on here. I got 30 minutes at 1800 exactly to talk about and produce my last video. Well, not last, but the video that I was supposed to produce for Sunday. So I hope y'all learned something, those who stayed with me. I know I said a lot within an hour and 24 minutes. My shows are starting to get longer and longer. Oh, darn. Take care of you guys. I love you guys. I love you now. Let's see who we got on you now. Polo Loco. Alan Costa, my day is going good. If you say something nice, I'll make sure I give you a big shout out. What's this? Zaddy Lojo. Hi, Zaddy Lojo. Javi El Polo, the chicken crazy. Javi the chicken crazy. Okay. So remember, the past is in the west to east, and the future is in the east to west. So west to east, east to west. WEEW. Take care. Bye. I'll be back on.